Hey guys, welcome back to my channel today. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys some makeup hits and misses. So if you guys saw my VIB sale haul, you did know that I did haul this Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde eyeshadow palette, and I promised that I was going to give you my thoughts before the end of the VIB sale. Also, I have my very requested drugstore update. Now, first of all, I wanted to actually put Harvey in this video because I actually got a few comments really missing him, that he wasn't in my holiday gift guide and he also wasn't in my Pat McGrath video because he was at a dental appointment. So he is here. Harvey, come here, babe. Come here. All right, so he is back. As you can see, he is doing really, really well. He was super cuddly actually, like right after the appointment. I think he was just like kind of out of it from the anesthetic. So he is doing really well. His teeth look great as well. I would try to get you to see them on camera, but he probably won't let me do that. Anyways, let's get on to the rest of this video. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the Sephora VIB sale thoughts so far that I've collected already from doing all of my testing. Now, the first product is a hit. This product was so good, it is already in a recommendations for the holiday gift guide, which I did put up already. But this is the Charlotte Tilbury Starry Eyes to Hypnotize palette. Now, this is one that if you guys saw my haul, you do know that my grandmother actually bought this one for me. I didn't think I was going to actually purchase it myself, but she did gift it to me, which was very, very sweet of her, so I was able to test it. And this to me is a gorgeous palette, you guys. I think that this showcases what Charlotte is really good at, which is pinks and beiges and everyday wearable colors, I guess you could say. I mean, the green and the blue that she's done here, I think is still everyday wearable, but she's very, very good at pink. And that's not even an insult or anything. That's just me saying that I feel like she always has pink in a lot of her palettes. Variations of pink, sparkly pink, etc. I love her brand very much, so that's no shade, but this is a super, super beautiful palette. Every single shade in here I think is great. Because I've gone on and on about this in my gift guide already, I'm just gonna kind of wrap it up, but the pigmentation here is great. It's very characteristic of Charlotte and the rest of her other eyeshadows she's done, so it is like a glowy kind of consistency. All right, so here we go. We can see some of the shadows here, and can you actually see what I'm saying? Like, they're very glowy, like some foil looks and aspects to it. And I think that they're just very easy wearable shades. This is not something that's going to be very intimidating to people that don't like color or don't want bold color on their face. It pairs really nice with some of the beiges in there too. So I do think this is a great addition to someone, especially if they're new to makeup. Okay, so the next hit, of course, is the Charlotte Tilbury Instant Look in an eyeshadow palette, or Instant Look in a palette. This is the gorgeous Glowing Beauty one. This is for the holiday season 2019, and this is a stunning palette as well, you guys. A lot of you told me that you enjoyed it, which I was really happy with. And a lot of you guys also said that the bronzer in here is deceivingly light. It's actually a bit deeper when you apply it to the skin, and it's very buildable, and that's absolutely true. This is a lovely one. You guys commented on my makeup so much when I was wearing this. This was in my holiday gift guide as well, where I did have, I believe, every single shade on my face except for this pop, or this smoke shade, sorry, on the far right. But I do think that this is a lovely palette if you think it'll accommodate you or someone that you know. The next thing I want to talk about is actually my friend Mel Thompson and Christian Audette's collaboration. Now, I did talk about this on Instagram. I raved about it already. I was very, very lucky to receive a PR package from Mel, so thank you so much to Mel and to the brand Christian Audette, of course. But this is her collaboration, and I can't speak better about it. No. That's the wrong word. I can't speak higher about this product, this collection. I have both the liners because it came, the PR package had all the collection in it, which was very, very generous. So both of these liners, creamy, but boy, do they not budge. Wow. The wearability on these is like out of this world. It's insane. When I take off my makeup at the end of the night, I had to do a little bit of elbow grease to take this guy off. Like, the longevity is amazing. So very, very impressed. Here is the two liners here. So Smooches is the deeper one, and then we have Kitten, which is the lighter one. So I feel like I have to remove them right away after I show you, because they're gonna leave a mark, you guys. In a good way, of course. There's also 2 lipsticks in this collection, which are bomb, you guys. Wow, I've been really, really loving Beauty just because that one to me is a little bit like more everyday than Puffin. Puffin is still a really gorgeous shade, but I find it to be, for myself, a little bold for everyday, but definitely an amazing shade too. So I'm gonna swatch it for you guys. And I'm also going to swatch Beauty, which is the everyday lipstick as well that I think. But here are the shades on my skin tone. Definitely check it out, you guys. I do believe she also announced there was one point where you could only get the entire collection like as a whole when you were purchasing them. But I believe now they're all available singly. So take a look, you guys, especially if you love Mel. I mean, go support her. She's amazing. She delivered, you guys. This is amazing. If I didn't even know her or love her as much as I do, I'd be very impressed. So good job, Mel. Love you, of course, and go check out that collaboration. Now, the next product I'm going to talk about is my first miss. Now, you guys are going to be surprised. I know a lot of you guys wanted me to follow up on the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette, and I'm going to tell you why this is a miss for me. A lot of these are preference related things, so not so much qualms on the palette itself. I will tell you what I think the cons are with the palette, but I do think that a lot of this is preference. I did want it to deliver just a bit more for me, especially because this price tag is higher. This is a luxury price point. Not as luxury as Natasha Denona or anything like that, but it's still like pricey, and this is something that should be, your expectations should be met. Mine haven't, unfortunately. The first thing I want to talk about is, in my opinion, the show-stopping row at the top. So the show-stopping row is the first row. That's kind of what pulled me into this palette. I really do like the idea of the purple, the greeny blue kind of closer to the end, and like that really nice matte pastel kind of light green. I did have to build up all 3 of these for you guys to see the impact of them. When they are by themselves, they are incredibly like shimmer heavy and not so much color or pigment heavy. What I mean by that is that, like, for instance, the blue on the far right doesn't have the blueness kind of behind the glitter that I wish it had. And that is just a preference, you guys. That is not necessarily like, oh, this is crap. But what I'm saying is that these are much more like topper shades, and that's just really up to you if that's what you're wanting. I really only wanted this shade here that I'm pointing at. This is Nebula. This is clearly a topper shade, and I only wanted that one to really be like the topper. This one I really wanted more pigment behind, and this one too. Not so much like sparkle, but a little bit more of the color underneath that the pan represents. Now, speaking of topper shades as well, this one here called Supermoon is absolutely terrible. I think it might just be my palette, maybe not, but for me, this one has very, very little pigmentation in general, and it's just chunky, it's dry, it doesn't move at all. Cosmic right here, Cosmic is amazing. This one right here is one of my favorite shades. It's very like foiled, wet looking, love it. This goldy pink one isn't bad either. But what I will say is that when it comes to the mattes and things like that, the mattes that performed the best are the rosy, like nude kind of tone ones, which I've already seen in New Nude. It does have some inconsistencies within the mattes as well. This isn't like a perfect palette where every shade is just bomb. Like there's some that are a tad drier, but this one I think has more consistency across the board than I would say Retrograde does. One thing I do have to say is the worst matte in here by far is Vortex, right on the bottom here. This is one that didn't build up at all on the lid. It was really hard to blend out. It was definitely one that was incredibly dry. I would say this one is the worst out of the entire thing, which is really too bad because this is actually one of the only like smoke shades you could use. If you wanted to add some dimension to the lid, this is the darkest shade in the palette. Not that that's going to be a deal breaker for you, but if it's going to be something where, wow, like this is like the darkest shade and I can't even really use it to deepen any of the looks at all, even a little bit. Like this would have looked amazing with like some of the purples and stuff. It would have looked bomb. But because of the fact that it's just not like made the same way, this is also hugely disappointing. The shades that don't make this palette unique are the ones that are doing well. So unfortunately for this one is going to be a miss in my books. Definitely take all of that information how you would like, and I hope it helps you make the decision if you want to purchase it yourself. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is this blush that I did haul in my Sephora VIB sale. This is from Patrick Ta, and this is his blush, his new blushes. I forget what they're called, Monochrome Moment. There we go. It's supposed to be a velvety kind of finish, and the shade that I picked up is called She's Passionate. Now, this is a blush, you guys, that is really going to depend on if you like a natural look. This is not going to be a very highly pigmented blush that you need to go light-handed with and then be really careful with like putting your brush in and applying it to the cheek and everything. This is one that you can literally swirl for days. Even using a denser brush and applying it to your cheeks will still give you a softer, glowier kind of effect to the cheek. Now, as this wears throughout the day, my experience has been that it really just melts into the skin and really looks like a natural flush. This to me is not like, you see the pinkness of this blush? I would say you probably need multiple layers on a brush and applying it to the cheek for you to actually attempt the pigment that this pan kind of demonstrates, right? So this to me is definitely a lighter kind of more natural blush for sure. Definitely something that if you are into a natural look, you will very much enjoy. And I'm going to keep them because I do like the fact that this is just going to be an effortless everyday kind of blush. I can put on a couple of layers and feel complete, but not feel like I'm going to be too made up looking for every day. So I'm going to keep it, but I must say that I don't have the need necessarily to go purchase the rest of the collection. I think I'm okay with just the one shade. I think that you don't necessarily need like that many blushes in your collection that are super natural. You know what I mean? I hate to say natural over and over again, but that's really the word to describe it. Like it's just effortless looking. Okay, now let's talk about the drugstore stuff. Now you guys did super well by me. I feel like all of the recommendations did really well. I think I only have a few comments on a couple of things, but other than that, these are not terrible products by any means. So I'm gonna go through kind of my comments on all of these things. First one is the Butter Bronzer from Physicians Formula. This is one, you guys, that is really nice. I actually think very pigmented, but a couple of things to note. The scent of this is strong. It is a coconutty kind of scent. It is very potent. Think about like the Too Faced peach kind of fragrance that is in some of their palettes. Very similar. You open it up and it's like, bam, right in your face, coconut, which is fine for me, but I'm not aversive to scent. I know there's some people that get like really bad headaches from that. So if you are one of those, I would steer clear. But the shade that I picked up is called Sun-Kissed Bronzer, and I do like it. It's definitely more on the warm tone side, but I do enjoy it. I think this is going to be one that I'm definitely going to keep in my collection. The only thing about this is the packaging is a little bit cheapy feeling. And I know that some people, they say, oh, it's drugstore packaging, like who cares? Like that's why it's cheap. But like, I still think there's some great drugstore packaging out there. Like, don't get me wrong. The next part I'm going to talk about is evidence of that, and it's still the same brand. So I wish that they would have made this like a little bit better. It's a bestseller regardless. The product inside is bomb. Like I said, along the same vein, we do have another Physicians Formula product that I think their packaging has like been brought with this one. Great packaging, feels luxurious. This is the Healthy Foundation from Physicians Formula, and this one is also lovely. Glowy foundation for sure. I would say it's about a true medium coverage. The shade that I picked up is LN4, which is supposedly light neutral 4, and I do think it leans slightly cooler on me. So it's not like, in my opinion, a perfect neutral, a little bit cooler, but actually surprisingly a shade that I was able to work with. A great foundation for sure in the drugstore category is this one, especially if you like glowy skin. Now let's talk mascara, and both of them I actually really like, but for different reasons. So this first one is the Voluminous Lash Paradise. This was by far the most popular one that you guys requested that I pick up and test out and everything. And this one is the waterproof version. Now this one, you guys, okay. This one is a wet formula, so it is, if you're not into wet formulas, this is what this one is for sure. But I find this one is definitely in its prime after like probably 4 or 5 uses. Then it's not as wet, it's not as like clumpy. Like it starts off a little bit clumpy, but then you just gotta kind of ride it out for like 4 uses, and then it's just gold. Like then it's amazing. It separates, it lifts, it's pigmented, it just sits there, it doesn't transfer or anything. This is great. Like I would 100% repurchase this one. It's lovely. So no wonder you guys love it so much. This next one is from Essence. It is the Lash Princess False Lash Effect Mascara. And this is one that you don't need necessarily to have to wait the 4 to 5 uses to get a really nice result. What I will say is that this one is just not as volumizing as this one, but that's just me being nitpicky. Both are fantastic. I like the fact that this one lengthens quite a bit, and I think it's because of the name, like the false lash effect. It just lengthens really well, and I find a few coats of this just because I love mascara. Like, I'm not a one coat mascara kind of girl. I like to coat it down. So this is a really nice one. Next we have the highlights from Pixie Beauty. This is actually a really nice duo. It's called Subtle Sunrise. And this one packs a punch. Wow. When I was putting it on my brush, I kind of thought, oh, I don't really see anything on the brush. I didn't see a lot of pigment on there. It was kind of like, is it actually going to go on the brush? Then I applied it to the cheek, checked out my cheek, and was like, holy moly, this is really nice. So this one is incredibly deceiving when you actually put your brush in. Almost feels like hard pan, kind of, but it's just fantastic. It still transfers, and then the glow is really nice. Like, it's the glow I have on today. It's much more natural and like kind of from within. I like this shade a little bit more just because I think to me it's a little bit more wearable. The pink is gorgeous too, but I use it more so as a blush topper. So I love both of them for sure. This one being my favorite, and definitely check this out, you guys, because at first I was like, is this gonna be good? But wow, is it ever good. Next, I want to talk about the eyeshadow palette that I picked up in that drugstore haul, and that was the one from ColourPop. This is the Baby Got Peach palette. It is on my eyes today. The sparkle on my lid is actually the pressed glitter that is inside, and the packaging to me is not my favorite, but I think that's where ColourPop might, you know, do some of their product savings, is not doing like a heck of a ton with their packaging. Not saying it's terrible, no shade whatsoever, obviously, but this is definitely like a cheapy plastic, and I have palettes, of course, that have better packaging, but they're also more money, so I'm not gonna necessarily knock it. But this is one that is really nice. I am happy to say that the consistency between all of the mattes is great. The shimmers are great. Very, very impressive, especially the price point being so low, so that's amazing. The only thing that I have found out about myself, and this is just preferences, I think, but I don't really need a ton of palettes that have pressed glitters in them. I know my new nude by Huda Beauty has it. I know there's a Too Faced Pretty Rich palette in there that has some of those, but I think it's just a preference thing. It's not necessarily like my absolute favorite. I think I've kind of realized that. Like, I have a few and I'm good. I don't think I need to buy any more of them. Because there is a little bit more of like a high maintenance factor to that when you do have a pressed glitter. This pressed glitter here is called Hungry Ghost, and it is on my lid today. And I must say, even with glitter glue, this one does tend to fall. And it also, when you do pick it up ever so lightly with your fingertip, which I do find is the best application for this, you do get little bits of glitter that kind of go all over the pan and then sometimes get in the other powders. And I'm just like, ooh, that's not good. I don't like that. If ColourPop does release another one of these, but there is a pressed glitter, I'd be like, like probably not. But if they have a 9-pan palette without a pressed glitter, and it's just like a really nice shimmery shade, I'd be all over it. The next hit, wow, you guys, so many hits. So thank you so much for this. This was a fantastic drugstore experience. This is from Milani, and this is the very popular Luminoso blush. This is a baked blush as well, so it is something new that I hadn't tried from the brand. Of course, I've actually tried very little from Milani until this little haul here, so that's awesome. But this, you guys, is surprisingly pigmented on a brush. Like, if you have a dense blush brush like I do, this picks up pigment very quickly. So it's a gorgeous peachy glowy pink blush. So pretty on the skin. It is the blush I'm wearing today, but wow, I had to kind of like really blend it in, which it does do a good job of doing that, but it did surprise me as to how much pigment just transferred on my brush right away. So this one is still stunning though. Highly recommend this for a blush option, especially in the drugstore, because I agree with you, this is fantastic. The longevity is amazing on this, of course. It lasts a long time, and kind of partnered with my butter bronzer, it's really nice combo. Definitely effortless for every day. The next Milani product that is a major hit is their eyeshadow primer. I've been using it with the ColourPop formula while I was testing it with Pat McGrath, testing that with it. Huda Beauty, like everything I was using this with as well. And This is a great option, you guys. This definitely rivals my high-end ones for sure. This is a creamy consistency. It does have a beigey color to it, and it does self-set as well, but when I use it, I do like to make sure I just add a little bit of powder to it, but it's absolutely not necessary. I just want to really mattify while I'm applying my shadow, but I've used it without the powder too, and it does a great job of keeping everything in place. Very, very effective, does a great job. Now we are on to the last couple of products. The next one that really surprised me as well was the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser. This is the multi-use concealer. A couple of things to mention with this one is that it does, when you do actually turn it, it's a turn one, so it has like a little bit of a wheel and then the product gets pushed out. It is really, really nice, but it's deceiving as to how much is actually in there. So once you see the product, you probably already have a little bit too much, so just keep that in mind. It blends in beautifully as well. Like with the Beauty Blender, it just effortlessly was blending into my skin, and it's very like skin-like, as skin-like as makeup can get. The last thing I will talk about are these Color Rouge lipsticks. Now the one that I hauled is the exclusive JLo collection from the Color Riche line. Color Riche, dang, I always say that wrong. Color Riche, not Rouge. Color Riche. This is number 370, Jennifer's Nude, and this one is a bit more sheer. It is the one I'm wearing today, so I did have to build it up a little bit. Then I picked up this shade as well because I realized this one was super sheer, so I wanted to see how the other shades would be. This is from like their permanent collection, I believe, because it has the gold packaging, but let me know down below if I'm incorrect. But this one is 843 Smoked Almond. This one to me is not as sheer. It's still like very user-friendly and not super, super pigmented right on one swipe. It's, I would say, medium to full, but this one to me packs more of a pigment punch than this one. So this one is a little bit more sheer. The color is lighter too, but both of them are very user-friendly. It just depends on your preference. As you can see, guys, lots of hits in this video today, so thank you so much for all of your recommendations in the drugstore category. I really appreciate it. That was so much fun. I'll definitely do that again sometime. And let me know down below, what are your favorite products right now that you want me to check out and test out. Thank you so, so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And until my next one, guys, take care. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, guys.
You and me, everything that we've been through has made us strong. You won't believe we've had our gray, but somewhere there's a light inside of us.